collecting information.
So according to yourselves then and the data that you possess currently, are there any foreign hires in what could be termed as, positions that could have an impact on public security risk?
Good morning, guys. Good morning once again. Welcome to South Africa Lately, a channel that discusses South African trending news. We do, however, grab here and there from international news when it is trending enough to be brought here. Please do understand that I'm not a politician. I do not have deep knowledge in politics. However, I am a South African citizen who's also a voter, and I do believe that my views count when it comes to political affairs of our beautiful country. Now, this is something that is going to upset you as a South African. Number one, because it looks like our people, that our officials have no clue of what they're doing, and it really appears that we've been operating as a country outside the norms and standards that we are supposed to operate within. And number three, it seems like we've been on autopilot for the longest time as South Africa now worries that we have foreign nationals in key positions that put security risk to our country. So when you look at such things, and you listen to the gentleman that is being interviewed today, being exposed by this journalist, that actually no one knows what they are doing in this country. Like, really. But without wasting much of your time, let me leave you watching. I'll be right back right at the end with my closing commentary.
Collecting information.
So according to yourselves then and the data that you possess currently, are there any foreign hires in what could be termed as, positions that could have an impact on public security risk?
In terms of public security risk or a threat to the state, each department has an information officer and a security department that deals with vetting and assessing the security of the proximity of access to classified information for individuals. As DPSA, we cannot have a conclusive answer in terms of saying, yes, there are people who are appointed in certain positions by government who are occupying positions that pose threat to government. But the departments where these people are appointed, the executive authorities and the relevant component or unit within those departments are the ones supposed to assess whether those people who are appointed in those positions possesses threat, or they may pose threat to the state and the security of the country. But as DPSA, we cannot say we identify this individual that poses threat to the state if there is no fact, is not supported by facts. Hence, we are subjecting these people to vetting, and the vetting is done by security, state security, and they follow a process where they are able to identify whether these persons or who are appointed by government pose threats to the state. So they are basing their recommendation or their report on facts. As DPSA, we cannot have a conclusive answer on that.
Pilar, I'm a bit confused here because you represent the Department of Public Service and Administration. This is the public service, right?
True.
And you are telling me that you do not really know what information these departments have, if what you're saying is if I'm hearing you correctly, then what information do you have?
At the moment, I said we are collecting information from departments.
No, I mean from previous years, not even the information that you're busy collecting right now. What information do you have? Because you can't even tell us as to whether or not there are these sensitive hires in these particular positions, not only from the data you're waiting for right now, but even from the data of previous years. One would then ask, what do you have?
Right. In terms of the previous years, from time to time, an employee who was appointed by government and based on the functions that the person is performing for that particular department is required by law to be vetted. And when you employ foreign national, it is a requirement that the foreign national must be vetted. Once the vetting is complete, there is no valid standpoint where we can say this person poses threat to the state if that person has been issued with valid security clearance and the vetting of that particular individual comes positive. So we cannot base our argument to say for the fact that the person is a foreign national, then this person poses threat, because there are processes that are involved before the person get appointed by government.
So from what you know then, everything is above board, vetting is done, it's complete, no loopholes there, no exposure for the country when it comes to security.
I will answer that question like this. Although we are saying we establish norms and standards as DPSA in terms of what need to be done, but the responsibility of executing or of implementing those norms and standards lies with the individual department. As DPSA, we might not know who is vetted, who is not vetted, because these employees, including those who are not foreign nationals, who are employed by government, we do not request those vetting from those departments to be submitted to us, but we gave that responsibility to the EAs to manage that process, and information officers as well as security information management of the department.
So, Phela, what you're saying right now in that answer that you just gave us is that for the department, even when a person is hired at a very, very senior level, you don't see it necessary to ask if all the vetting has been done, particularly because you are a department that is supposed to be effectively exercising oversight over all the government departments. So what you're saying is that you do not actually see or check if vetting has been done. You're leaving it to those who hire.
Yes.
So you don't think that this is important to actually revisit, maybe?
That's true, because as government, we need to improve our processes, because these processes sometimes, by the time you implement these policies, you find loopholes, then you then revise or review your legislation so that they will address the concerns. So when we have such things, we may then go back as DPSA and acknowledge the fact that maybe if the department are not reporting to us or give us the information in terms of those people who are employed, who are foreign nationals or who are required to have security clearance, but do not submit their information to DPSA, so that we will be sure that they are employing people who are vetted, who may not be putting the country at risk. I think we may then improve our legislation. And we review our legislation.
And I suppose you review it, pardon me, I suppose you review it as well, because you want to make sure that those who are not submitting the critical data that you're waiting for are not doing so because they themselves don't know how to do this, which could signal a dysfunction, or some of them are simply obfuscating here, simply not wanting to produce this information because it could land them in trouble. So maybe you look at the policy in order to make sure that you deal with this.
True. We will look at that, because at the moment we are working on issuing a directive that will be issued by the minister. There are things that we are adjusting in terms of employment of foreign national, as well as the vetting process. We are working with different stakeholders, including state security, home affairs, Department of SAPS, defense, because we want those departments that are having maybe capacity to assist us with intelligence and to guide us in terms of how we tighten our policy. We will then look at how we enforce the issue of a submission of vetting. But with our policy, we are saying before you appoint a person, the person must be vetted. Then if it's not done, which means we need to go back and ask for that information. If it's not done, then that appointment might be irregular.
Phela, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it this evening. That is Phela Mweli, the Director Employment Management in the Human Resource Management and Development Branch at the Department of Public Service.
That is so upsetting, right? It is upsetting. So whatever your views are, kindly share them in the comment section. And if you watched up to here, thank you guys for watching my videos. I really appreciate you doing that. And if you have time and you are on Wi-Fi, kindly watch my ads in full. That support really goes a long way. Diabulela kakhulu ke guys, nibe nemini emnandi.